So there are places that we're finding to make government more efficient and work better with the few tax dollars we have to spend right now. Another way we're doing that is through the red tape watch that I've talked about a few times. I talked about it at the breakfast last month and the month before. And but the red tape watch is a way that we have asked private business owners, small business owners in particular, to come to the Capitol and tell us what you see in state government, state regulation of small business that is making it harder for you to get your job done. What's costing you money that doesn't make sense? And we've had some good legislation come out of that process. Also, one of the things that I've been most excited about this year is the elimination of the sales tax on electricity used in manufacturing that Senator Loudermilk mentioned. I was thinking about it today. In fact, we have some relatively small manufacturers in our community in North Bartow who, if this tax elimination goes through, and I believe it will, and the governor will sign it, it's going to create an opportunity really for those businesses in particular that I'm thinking of to hire possibly a whole new shift in their facilities, a couple of manufacturers. So this is a real, no kidding, great opportunity to see economic growth in manufacturing, which we know for every one manufacturing job you add, you typically add 4.2 supporting jobs in the community. So manufacturing jobs are the ones we want, and we're seeing that happen not just here, but across the state. We're seeing new manufacturing coming in. And last thing I want to mention, because I got a lot of questions about this at the chamber breakfast earlier this month, is House Resolution 1162, which is the constitutional amendment that may be placed on the ballot in the fall for everybody to vote on, which would allow the state to establish charter schools through the state level government. The first thing, the most important thing for you to understand is all we're doing in 1162 is giving you the opportunity to choose. House Resolution 1162, if it passes the Senate, will mean that the question of whether the state should fund charter schools comes to you, the voter. It does not do anything right now. It only provides the opportunity for your voice to be heard. So, if you love charter schools and you think it's the greatest thing ever, you get a chance to vote on it. If you think charter schools are the greatest threat to our community you've ever seen, you get a chance to vote on it. You get a chance to tell your neighbors and your friends how you feel about it, and you get to make the decision. So I think that's probably the most important aspect of 1162 that I can impress for you. With that, I'm going to sit down and let whomever wants to ask a question ask a question.
It may be helpful if you guys would state what committees you serve on.
Okay. I'm on the Judiciary Non-Civil Committee, which is, I guess, the heaviest load committee that I have. We have a lot of bills come through there. Everything that has to do with criminal law or criminal process, judicial process, comes through Judiciary Non-Civil. The other two committees I'm on are Military and Veterans Affairs, or Defense and Veterans Affairs, which has to do with Defense and Veterans Affairs, primarily the National Guard and Veterans Administration, and also Children and Youth. Those are the three committees I have.
Well, I'm on the Science and Technology Committee, which I'm the chairman of that committee. Vice chair of the Veterans, Homeland Security, and Defense Committees. On the Economic Development Committee, the Transportation Committee. Which one am I missing? I'm on 5 committees now, and I'll think of it here in a minute. There's the one of them we haven't met yet. This year hasn't been that much legislation coming through, but regulated industries. I was just appointed to that this year. We have met quite often, and that deals with any type of legislation with any industry that is regulated by state or federal government, such as Georgia Power, AT&T, or liquor sales or anything like that that's regulated by state or federal government. So that is a fairly busy committee.
You have any questions?
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
About banking. help me understand, I believe this bill has passed the Senate, House Bill 448, that Small Business Borrower Protection Act. I want to make sure that I have that correct, and here's my read on it, and you tell me, Gary, you're absolutely right or you're absolutely wrong. It limits the guarantor's obligation on a debt to a bank or to a financial institution. And let me give you an example. You make $1 million loan and you personally guarantee that debt for $1 million. And then United Community Bank would sell that debt off at a discount. And at that point, the purchaser of the debt could only expect the guarantors to guarantee the amount that they purchased it for, not the original amount. Am I correct in that thinking?
Do you remember the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I don't know where in the process it is. I know that there's been some discussion of it in the House, but I don't think it is. I don't think it's passed the House. But after some discussion of the bill, I was opposed to the bill because it would essentially eliminate the. I'm not sure I'm going to use the right term here, but basically the secondary market for people to buy bad debt. You know, and basically, and you can probably speak to this more eloquently than I can, but essentially, when somebody defaults on their loan, that loan to the primary lender is bad debt. They want to get rid of it. But there's a market out there of people who want to buy bad debt because they'll charge a higher interest and they'll hope to make some part of the money back or all of the money back that they invest in that debt. And so this would essentially eliminate any incentive for a secondary debt purchaser to buy that debt. Is that?
That's exactly my opinion and the way I was looking at it. If I did have a bad debt that I sold to another entity for 35 cents on the dollar, that is all that could be expected to be repaid, that 35 cents.
Right. And to get to a more philosophical point, I think it is an unacceptable government intrusion into the private market. I think it's one of those areas where, you know, somebody has an idea that this is going to help people, but really what it's going to do is hurt the broader economy by having the government reach into an area and regulate where it doesn't need to regulate, or regulate more than it already does, in a way that will essentially hurt the broader economy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just looked at it. It is in the House. I think it's still in the banking committee, and it hasn't moved yet. I'm just trying to pull this up because that passed early on in the session. I thought it took me a minute to recall that. But we'll definitely track that and see where it is in the system. I saw that there was, I was not on the floor when that came up. I just looked up because usually if there's 4 no votes, I normally find I'm one of those there. So, but we'll definitely keep track.
Am I interpreting that correctly?
I think you're correct. I remember we had an in-depth discussion about that bill in our caucus, and a lot of Representative Coomer was bringing up was a lot of the concerns that many share as well. Another question.
I'm 81 years old and my school taxes are $2,400 a year. Some of the other counties around are like West. Is there anything can be done about it?
Well, you want to step it up? You know,
Don't everybody speak.
I think there was an article yesterday that apparently they just raised the school board voted to raise the school tax, and somehow that's our fault. But you know, it's one of the issues I have with property tax, and this is going to be something that we have to address at some point in this state, because to me that is it's difficult because so much of our local funding is dependent on property taxes. But I think that strips more liberty away from the individual for this reason, and this came to light when the economy went down. I can't tell you how many phone calls I received, but there were numbers of them, from people who were on the verge of losing their home because they couldn't pay the taxes. And one in particular, just, I mean, I literally cried